Hello, Dazzle. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I am glad that you are here. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the game Dark Souls Remastered. As always, there's the potential for things to be spoiled. If you haven't played this game and you plan to do so, you should go do that. And after you have had your own special experience with this game, then you can come back to this. I am confident that whether or not you become a fan of this game, that it will leave a long-lasting impression. The game features a distinctive visual style that blends gothic horror with medieval fantasy. The game's world, Lordran, is characterized by its oppressive and atmospheric environments. These range from crumbling castles and haunted forests to desolate ruins and eerie catacombs. The game presents plenty of imagery within the themes of decay, transient, and the passage of time. The architecture and design are inspired by European medieval structures with intricate details and imposing labyrinthine layouts. And this suggests that there was once a time that civilization thrived. The art uses muted color palette, emphasizing shades of gray, brown, and dark green, which enhances the somber and foreboding atmosphere. Lighting plays a crucial role, often casting long shadows and creating a sense of depth and mystery. Overall, the visual style of the game creates an immersive and haunting experience, drawing players into a world filled with decay, danger, and despair. The soundtrack features orchestral pieces that range from hauntingly melodic to intensely dramatic. The music is often sparse, with long stretches of silence broken only during boss battles or significant events, hiding the impact of each piece. This minimalist approach enhances the player's sense of isolation and foreboding as they traverse the game's desolate landscapes. The sound effects are meticulously crafted, with the clanging of armor, the echoing of footsteps, and the eerie ambient noises all contributing to the immersive experience. From the chilling roars of formidable enemies to the subtle rustling of the wind, every sound is designed to evoke a sense of unease and anticipation. Together, the music and sound effects create a rich, atmospheric audio landscape that perfectly complements the game's dark and oppressive world. The story unfolds in the decaying world of Lordran, a land once filled with great kingdoms and powerful beings. Central to the narrative is the concept of the First Flame, an ancient source of power that ushered in the Age of Fire, a golden era dominated by the gods. As the flame begins to fade, the world falls into darkness, heralding the Age of Dark. Players assume the role of the Chosen Undead, a cursed being destined to either rekindle the dying flame or let it extinguish. The story is told through cryptic dialogue, item descriptions, and environmental storytelling, encouraging players to piece together the lore. Themes of cyclic decay, the struggle between light and dark, and the burden of immortality are prevalent throughout the game. The player's journey involves confronting formidable beings known as lords and uncovering the truth behind the world's downfall. The narrative is deliberately ambiguous, allowing for various interpretations and a deep sense of mystery. This ambiguity and depth encourages players to explore and interpret the world, creating a rich tapestry of interconnected stories and relationships. Players take on the role of the Chosen Undead, a character defined more by their actions and choices than a fixed personality or backstory. The Chosen Undead is a blank slate, allowing players to customize their appearance, gender, and starting class, such as knight, pyromancer, sorcerer, or thief, among others. This flexibility in character creation extends to gameplay with a deep and intricate system for leveling up stats, acquiring and upgrading weapons, and mastering various combat styles, including melee, magic, and ranged attacks. As the Chosen Undead, players are burdened with the curse of the undead, which prevents them from dying permanently but causes them to hollow over time, losing their humanity. Throughout the game, players can collect and use humanity to restore their human form, kindle bonfires, and summon or invade other players' worlds. The character's journey is marked by a progression from a weak, unremarkable undead to a powerful being capable of challenging monsters and gods. The Chosen Undead's ultimate fate is determined by the player's choices, with multiple possible endings that reflect the complex moral and philosophical themes of the game's narrative. The NPCs are an integral part of this immersive world, providing depth, lore, and intrigue. These characters are scattered throughout Lordran, each with their unique personalities, backstories, and often mysterious motivations. Some NPCs, like Solaire, are iconic for their optimism and memorable catchphrases, while others, like Sigmire, offer a blend of humor and pathos through their quests. Many NPCs serve as merchants or provide essential services, such as the blacksmith Andre and Vamos, who help upgrade armor and your weapons. The enigmatic and morally ambiguous characters like the firekeeper Anastasia or the manipulative knight Lorek of Krim add layers of complexity to the game's narrative. The NPCs often have their own story arcs, which may intertwine with the player's journey, leading to various outcomes depending on player choices. These characters are brought to life with minimal dialogue and subtle environmental storytelling, encouraging players to piece together their stories. The NPCs in the game enhance the game's rich atmosphere, contributing to its themes of despair, perseverance, and the cyclic nature of existence. Dark Souls is renowned for its high level of challenge, which is a defining aspect of the game's appeal. The game is unforgiving, requiring players to master its intricate combat system, which emphasizes precise timing, strategic use of stamina, and careful management of resources. Enemies and bosses are formidable, each with unique attack patterns and behaviors that demand skill and patience to overcome. The game's world is interconnected and filled with hidden traps, environmental hazards, and tough enemies that can easily overwhelm an unprepared player. Death is a frequent occurrence and a central mechanic as it teaches players to learn from their mistakes and adapt their strategies. The loss of collected souls upon death with the opportunity to reclaim them if they reach their bloodstain adds a layer of tension and risk to every encounter. The challenge extends beyond combat as the game's lore and narrative are conveyed subtly, requiring players to pay attention to item descriptions and environmental clues to piece together the story. This high difficulty level is balanced by a rewarding sense of accomplishment when overcoming obstacles, making Dark Souls Remastered a deeply satisfying and memorable experience for those who persevere, but only after enduring hours of frustration while facing a game that isn't fair, but it never claims to be. The bosses are renowned for their grandeur, complexity, and the intense challenge that they present. Each boss encounter is a meticulously crafted test of skill, strategy, and perseverance, often requiring players to learn and adapt to the boss's unique attack patterns and phases. The Silent Demon is the first boss, introduced to the player long before they are ready to fight it. It has a dramatic and imposing battle while players face a massive hulking creature in a confined space, testing their ability to dodge its powerful, sweeping attacks and capitalize on its slow recovery times. This fight sets the tone for the entire game. The bosses in Dark Souls are both memorable and formidable. These encounters are not only tests of combat prowess, but also serve as pivotal narrative moments, revealing more about the game's lore and the world of Lordran. The bosses are often grandiose and visually striking, with intricate designs and backstories that contribute to the game's dark, mythic atmosphere. Defeating a boss is a significant achievement, marked by both a sense of relief and a deeper immersion into the game's richly layered world. The user interface is intentionally minimalistic and immersive, designed to complement the game's challenging and atmospheric experience. The HUD displays essential information such as health, stamina, and magic points through simple, unobtrusive bars, while the player's inventory and equipment are accessed through an organized menu system that pauses the game. The interface also features a detailed status screen that shows the player's current weapon loadout, armor, and stats. The design avoids clutter, allowing players to stay focused on the action and the exploration, and incorporates subtle visual cues that align with the game's dark medieval aesthetic. The limited on-screen information reinforces the sense of isolation and immersion, ensuring that players can remain engaged with the game's world and its myriad of challenges. Dark Souls is often criticized for its perceived lack of fairness, which is a deliberate design choice that contributes to its challenging nature. The game frequently places players in situations where they must contend with unpredictable enemy behavior, unfairly positioned traps, and environmental hazards that can lead to sudden and unavoidable deaths. The difficulty spikes and intricate level design can feel punishing, especially when players encounter powerful bosses or labyrinthine areas without sufficient guidance or checkpoints. The lack of traditional hand-holding or explicit tutorials means that players must often learn through trial and error. Lots and lots of error. All of that leads to intense feelings of frustration. The game's frequent and abrupt deaths can be disheartening, especially when players lose significant progress or valuable resources like souls, forcing them to repeatedly navigate treacherous areas and confront powerful enemies. The complex and sometimes opaque game design can exacerbate this frustration as players struggle to decipher the best strategies, manage their limited resources, and master the precise timing required for combat. The challenge of learning from each defeat and adapting strategies while maintaining patience can be mentally taxing, leading to moments of just complete exasperation. During my first playthrough of the game, I experienced mostly the aforementioned frustration. The lack of fairness within the game was a major chafing point for me. There are plenty of really difficult games out there that are also fair, so I don't see the need for the lack of fairness in a game mechanic. But it does contribute to the world's sense of bleakness and brutality, augmenting the harsh truth that the world just does not give a shit if you live or die, and if you're going to survive, it's going to be mostly on shit luck. It took me a while to come back to this game for a second playthrough, but I am glad that I did. Upon my return, I found that I had a new skill set that allowed me to approach the game differently than I did with my first time. The second playthrough was when I was able to experience the story in this game, because during the first playthrough, I was too caught up in the frustrations and struggles to pay attention to the story bits that were being given to me. This game offers substantial replay value through its rich and complex gameplay mechanics. The game's non-linear progressions, diverse class options, and extensive customization allow players to experience the world in numerous ways, encouraging experimentation with different playstyles, weapons, and magic. Each playthrough can reveal new strategies, lore, and secrets as the player uncovers alternate paths and encounter different NPCs or quests. Additionally, the game's multiple endings based on player choices provide different perspectives on the story and its outcome. The challenging nature of the game, combined with its New Game Plus mode, which increases difficulty while retaining the player's progress, ensures that even seasoned players have new challenges to tackle. The dynamic online features such as co-op play and player versus player invasion also contribute to the game's longevity, making each return to the game a fresh and engaging experience. So do I recommend it? Yeah, I do recommend the game for its exceptional world building, intricate lore, and deeply rewarding gameplay, but with a significant caveat. It is notoriously difficult and can be exceedingly frustrating. The game is designed to challenge players with its punishing difficulty, frequent deaths, and complex mechanics, which can lead to moments of intense frustration and discouragement. Its unforgiving nature requires a great deal of patience, perseverance, and strategic thinking. If you're prepared for a demanding experience that will test your skills and resolve, and if you can embrace the satisfaction that comes from overcoming its numerous obstacles, then this game can offer a profoundly immersive and gratifying adventure. Just be ready for a steep learning curve and the occasional urge to throw your controller in exasperation, because that's probably how it's gonna go. Well, that's about it for my rambling today. Thanks for coming and spending some time with me. If you like this, then click on that like button. It really does help. And until we talk again, you guys be sure to take care of yourselves. Bye!